Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our public meeting for Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. We'll open the meeting at 9:02 a.m. I'm going to ask that Madam CEO, who is acting as our clerk, give some housekeeping rules.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I'd like to advise that this meeting is being live streamed on the SDG Counties YouTube channel and is also being recorded. We have 2 individuals attending from the public in person, and we have 3 individuals attending virtually. We have recorded their names and contact information through the registration process, and that information will be kept on file. Should there be any members of the public unable to join us this morning who wish to provide comments related to the items considered or who wish to be notified of the decisions, they can send an email to planning@sdgcounties.ca. When the time comes for public comments or questions and you wish to speak, please raise your hand, and if you are attending in person, if you are joining virtually, you can press the raise hand button on your screen. You will then be admitted to the visual part of the meeting and will be seen and heard by the panel and those watching live. This will also be recorded. We will try to answer requests to speak in the order that they are received. If you request to speak and your turn arrives, we ask that you begin by stating your name and address for the record.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask any members that are present and any members online if anyone has a declaration of pecuniary interest. If so, please state it now. Seeing none present, anything online, Todd? No? All right. Thank you. So I'd like to introduce Lindsay Parisian. Did I get that right? And she's our senior planner. She's going to further explain the meeting and provide some details on each of the subjects. Go ahead, Lindsay.
All right, thank you, Warden Lang. So this public meeting is a forum for the public and council to receive information that pertains to the proposed amendments to the SDG official plan through official plan amendment number 27 and official plan number 28, as well as voice any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the amendments. This meeting is being held pursuant to Section 17 and Section 21, subsection 1 of the Planning Act. As previously stated, anyone wishing to receive further notice about the amendments to the SDG official plan can send an email to planning@sdgcounties.ca.
You're good to go.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. As you know, my name is Lindsay Parisian. I am a senior planner here at the counties. And this morning I have 2 presentations for you. First, I will begin with official plan amendment number 27, which is related to the conservation lands overlay. Sorry. So this slide is a brief overview of our presentation for you this morning. First, I'll begin with a bit of a background on official plan number 27, as it is related to OPA number 23, which was our major space official plan amendment that was adopted last year. But as part of that process, or during the appeal period, parts of it was appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal, so I will go through some of those discussions and that hearing process as well. Following this, we'll look at some of the proposed changes that were being brought forward for you today, as well as review some of the publicly owned properties that are being affected. Following this, we'll look at some of the comments received to date, as well as next steps moving forward. So as a background on this file, as I mentioned, it is related to official plan amendment number 23 that was adopted in June of last year. This OPA permitted the major open space land use designation in rural areas, as well as redesignated select publicly owned properties in rural areas to major open space. And this part of the OPA was identified as a key recommendation, which stemmed from our natural heritage study that was endorsed by Council in 2021. And the whole intent behind that study and OPA number 23 was to provide further protection and conserve our lands that contain natural heritage features. However, as part of that, as I mentioned, properties that were designated as agricultural resource lands were appealed by the ministry. So throughout the fall and early into this year, ourselves, staff from MMAH and OMAFA, we had several discussions on this settlement, and what we eventually settled on was a two-step approach in order to implement some of the goals of the PPS and ensure that the intent behind official plan number 23 was being maintained. So it was a two-step approach. The first step being to allow the appeal to remain, and then the second step, which is what brings us here today, is to introduce a new conservation lands overlay and policies for lands in rural areas. So on March 25th, our hearing took place at the Ontario Land Tribunal, and a decision was finally issued on May 8th of this year. So looking at official plan number 27, here you'll see some of the proposed wording and the text changes that will be included in our official plan. So what we've decided on is creating a new subsection that will be titled Conservation Lands Overlay, and the intent of this overlay is to balance the conservation objectives with the policies of the underlying land use designation in a practical planning environment, to I guess, implement this through environmental stewardship. This is to have continued conservation of our significant natural heritage features of the lands, and it shall be undertaken in accordance with the policies of this plan, while we're still respecting the primary use of the policies of that underlying land use designation. So before I get into the details of this slide, you'll notice, based on our discussions, we kind of separated the two land use designations. The majority of the properties in our rural areas are either designated as agricultural resource lands or rural district, and recognizing that the policies in our official plan are a little bit different within those two sections. And so what you'll see here, so on lands that have the underlying designation as agricultural lands, sections of Section 5.3, so the policies in that section will continue to apply. However, the following existing uses are going to be permitted. So conservation uses, passive outdoor recreational uses, but we exclude buildings and golf courses. And that is to keep the overall intent of our prime ag lands. Expansion of any of these existing uses may be considered, but must be reviewed based on the policies of our plan and against the Planning Act. And of course, in the future, if we were to receive an application to introduce any new non-agricultural uses, an extensive evaluation would be triggered in order to be consistent with our official plan policies. Now we're looking at some of the changes to our rural district. So notwithstanding the policies in section 3.4.6 of the plan, so recognizing that in our rural district, there is a little bit more flexibility in terms of development versus prime ag lands. So for lands that are designated as rural district and in which the conservation lands overlay will apply, permitted uses are going to be limited to the conservation uses, forestry uses, natural areas, as well as any agricultural uses managed by a public authority. We are recognizing that lot creation, if, for example, an application for lot creation or any additional uses were to be brought forward, it would require an amendment to this plan, and that is intentional. However, we do have policies that speak to minor boundary adjustments as they may be permitted, but upon the review of our approval authority, a minor adjustment would be legal or technical reasons or severing two or more lots. So now the next set of slides are going to show the various properties, the publicly owned properties that are being affected with OPA number 27. This map you'll see that was prepared by one of our students, Sammy, who's here in attendance this morning. She's done a great job at really showcasing all the lands that are in which the conservation lands overlay will be applied to. So this is just the overall map of our counties. Taking a closer look at the township of North Dundas. I won't go through it in great detail, but just keeping in mind that all the lands that are being affected are publicly owned, and also there only occur, the ones that are going to have the conservation lands overlay are in our rural areas, versus the major open space will remain in our settlement areas. We have the municipality of South Dundas, which is Schedule B for reference. Township of North Stormont, Schedule C. Township of South Stormont, Schedule D. Township of North Glengarry, Schedule E. And finally, we have South Glengarry, Township of South Glengarry, Schedule F. So now looking at some of the comments that we've received to date, local municipalities are supportive of the proposed changes. I did receive one call from a member of the public inquiring on whether privately owned properties, specifically in Moose Creek, were being impacted. However, that is not the case at this point in time. Only publicly lands are being impacted. No private lands are being.
Hey Todd, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry about that. So yes, no privately owned lands are being impacted with this OPA. It's only publicly owned lands at this point in time. I have received commentary letters in support of this OPA from South Nation Conservation Authority as well as Trans-Northern Pipeline. However, their only additional comment from TNPI was that they wanted to ensure that their right-of-way was not being impacted by any future tree planting. So looking at some next steps following this meeting, we will review any comments and feedback that's provided. Planning staff from the counties will prepare a draft bylaw and report on OPA number 27, as right now we have it tentatively scheduled for the September County Council meeting for consideration. If approved at that time, the 20-day appeal period will commence, and if no appeals are filed, then the official plan document and schedules will be updated this fall, and as well as the JS layer that is associated with this information. So that concludes my presentation, and I'll turn it back over to you, Warden Lang.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the presentation. Anybody who has wishes to speak to OPA 27, this would be the time to raise your hand, whether you're online or in person, and we will invite you to speak. Not seeing anyone in the room. Anyone online, Todd? All right. And I don't know, do they have, if somebody wanted to put a comment in, do they still have time to put a comment in, to send something in to us?
Yes, absolutely. There's still plenty of time for receiving comments.
How long would you have to get comments in if they would like to send something in?
We are receiving comments up until the day in which that it is considered by County Council, ideally before, but I can provide perhaps a deadline for the commenting agencies. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So I guess then, if there's no questions and I still see nothing, we'll go on to the next one. I guess maybe I'll mention, just for the public's interest, staff will receive any comments that come in. They'll put something together, and this will come back to a council meeting at a later date, whenever staff is ready to give us their recommendation. Go ahead with the next one.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll be speaking to our second item for this morning's meeting. It will be official plan number 28, which is reviewing our county roads entrance policies. So again, just want to give a brief overview of this presentation. I'll give a bit of a background, then we'll look at some of the current official plan policies that apply to a development adjacent to our county roads. Then we'll look at some of the proposed changes, as well as review any comments that we received to date, and then finally end with some next steps moving forward. So look, just to give a bit of background, in fall of last year, a motion was brought forward by at a regular county council meeting. This motion directed staff at the counties to review our current official plan policies, to conduct some research to determine whether or not some changes could be made. At the time, our former director of transportation conducted research and presented multiple options and compiled all these options into a key information report that was reviewed and discussed at the committee of a whole meeting that was held in November of last year. And as a result of that meeting and that report, council has endorsed changes to the section, as you see here on our screen, so development adjacent to our county roads. And that we'll be reviewing this morning. So before I get into the changes, I do think that it's important to review some of the current policies in our official plan, as they are currently applied to proposed applications. One key, I guess, policy that it is important to keep in mind, and I will kind of just have it simply put. So any new residential lot that is proposed and that requires a direct access onto one of our county roads, or if that county road has a posted speed limit of 80 kilometers per hour or greater, or an average annual daily traffic count volumes of 4,000 vehicles or greater. These are the two criteria in which no new driveways are permitted. So I guess to put in some more simple terms, our fast and busy roads, no driveways are permitted onto a county road. However, there are situations where an access to a county road may be permitted. So for example, if it's the lots within an urban or rural settlement area boundary, or it's considered a lot of record, those are situations where direct access may be permitted, but there is additional criteria that has to be complied with. I won't go into all the details of the current policies, but they are here for reference. As we continue to look at our current policies, the one that I've highlighted here on the screen in blue, I do have an example that I want to, go through with ourselves this morning, just to kind of give a clearer picture on how this policy would be implemented. But to simplify, looking at our county road, again, if it's the posted speed limit is 80 kilometers or greater, and less than 4,000 average annual daily traffic counts, 3 driveways are permitted within a segment of a kilometer, and I'll go through how that kilometer is measured to the best of my ability and how I understand it. However, up to 5 in some areas where there's less than 1,000 daily traffic counts on an annual average, up to 5 driveways would be permitted. So 3 to 5 is generally how it's been applied, but really it's 3. And I do want to I highlight this policy because this is the one that is receiving some changes or being proposed at this time. And as you see, so the kilometer shall be the segment containing the subject land and the greatest number of lots requiring year-round access, direct access onto a county road. That's how it's measured. So this is an example that I do want to give credit to the planning staff in South Stormont. They prepared this diagram, which I think really kind of helps depict some of our current policies and how they're reviewed. And this diagram is also reviewed by our transportation staff as well. So I think we're all on the same page in terms of how we understand these current policies. So looking at that top example, as I had mentioned, when you measure that kilometer, so starting, you know what, I might actually read out the example. I think it does help. So for example, the owner of 1234 County Road 99 would like to sever a lot on the west side of the property. So that would be the lot that's highlighted in pink. So County Road 99 has an average annual daily traffic count of 2,000. So therefore, no more than 3 year-round entrances would be permitted per kilometer. So that kilometer, you'll notice, looking to the east of County Road 99, you'll see 2. It appears that 1 could be permitted. However, when you move that kilometer west, you'll notice that there's already 3 entrances, 1 for the existing lot, and then 2 entrance 1 and 2 you'll see furthest west. So because of that, you already exceeded the amount of what would be allowed. So in this example, no new driveways would be permitted based on our current policies. So now we're looking at some of the proposed changes that was endorsed by my county council. So in certain situations, consideration for permitting access to a county road to accommodate new residential development will be given on roads with less than 4,000 average annual daily traffic counts, when local road access is not available, and when the overall density of the existing or future entranceways for all types of development, so that includes our residential, commercial, industrial, or institutional types of developments, on that same side of the road is no more frequent than 6 entrances per kilometer. So essentially, we've gone from 3 to 6. The starting point of the kilometer measurement shall be that segment containing the subject parcel and the greatest number of lots requiring year-round access. However, it is important to note that auxiliary entrances are excluded from that total number of county road entrances. Staff are also proposing a new subsection just to clarify situations where, in the event that the county road or a portion
Hey,
of
Shane, I still have nothing. Is that normal?
Todd, are you able to mute people online?
Is that better now? For all those that are online?
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh. Here we are. Okay. Sorry about that. So, as I was mentioning, so we are also proposing a new subsection in the event where the county road or a portion of it would be transferred to a local municipality. And just to clarify it a bit further, so if at a future date the county road will be changing jurisdiction to the local municipality, the proposed entrance onto the subject road may be permitted upon approval by the local municipality. So a change in jurisdiction is considered complete when county council has passed a bylaw transferring the subject road or part of it to the receiving municipality, and the local council has also passed a bylaw to accept that road. So those are essentially the proposed changes with OPA number 28. And I do want to share with you this morning an internal tool that we've been developing with our GIS staff, specifically Nathan. He's been very helpful in doing so. And this is stemmed from discussions with local township staff, but also transportation and our sales and planning, just recognizing that, where would these areas occur where no driveways would be permitted. And that's going back to that initial policy where the posted speed limit is 80 kilometers or greater, and there's more than 4,000 average annual daily traffic counts. Those are your no driveway zones. So what we've done is we've taken the data that we have and we've mapped it. It's still in development, but what you'll see here is a screenshot of this tool that we're developing. The portions of the county road that's highlighted in purple are the areas that a driveway would not be permitted based on the current policies, or based on that policy. So to be continued on this, but this is meant to assist staff when we have our pre-consultation meetings with residents as well. So some of the comments that we received to date, local municipalities are supportive as it creates more opportunities for development in some areas. They've even provided resolutions in support of OPA number 28. But we do recognize that other bylaws and applicable official plan policies must be considered when reviewing proposed consent applications and when a development is being proposed adjacent to a county road. So for example, county road entrance bylaw number 5122 needs to be in compliance, and as well as official plan policies associated with our prime agricultural lands will continue to apply. I have received comments in support of OPA number 28 from the public, and to date I have not received any comments of concern. None have been provided to me at this time. Looking at our next steps, so very similar timeline that, with OPA 27, so following this meeting, we are still open and able to receive any comments that anybody may has, and they are to be provided to myself or to that planning email that I mentioned earlier. Staff will then prepare or draft a bylaw and council report for the September meeting, regular county council meeting. If approved, the 20-day appeal period will commence, and of course, if no appeals are filed, the official plan document and updates will occur later this fall. That concludes my presentation. I'll turn it back over to you, Warden Lang.
Thank you very much. Something I just want clarification on. You said, so no entrances on county roads with 80 kilometers and 4,000, or 80 kilometers or 4,000? I wasn't, so is it basically anything over 4,000 traffic count, or is it any road that has 80 kilometer speed limit?
Sorry, through you, Warden. The way the policy reads now, it's and, so both items are impacted, or the two criteria that are reviewed.
So basically anything where the speed limit is posted 80, we're not looking at anymore.
That's correct.
Okay. We'll have to think about that. But anyway, comments from the public present or public online? I'm seeing none here. Anything online, Todd? Not seeing anything online then. So staff will, you can send in comments if you have some, and staff will put something together and bring to council likely in September then, by the looks of it. All right, is there anything further, Madam Clerk?
Through you, Mr. Warden, no. If there's no further comments, I believe our meeting is concluded.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and for showing up in person. And that's the end of our public meeting. Have a good day.
All right, thank you.